I just gotta drop this mic real quick. And then I pooped all over your... Hi, buddy. Did you have fun? Did you see your brother? You got a haircut. I did. All right, then with that said, it is my wonderful honor to introduce my wonderful friend, the amazing Nolan North. Where are you going?
So break ahead.
I like your hair.
Hey,
hi. We'll let everybody who doesn't care leave.
Oh, come on.
It's okay. Figure some are going to the bathroom. Did Troy really go?
Yep, he's gone.
He had what? Fantastic.
So break ahead. Let me do this.
All right, I'm just gonna check my text messages. Then we'll get up there.
Yay.
You gotta sit in the front. I'm gonna go in the front. I taught him that, by the way. That's much better.
Don't fall now. Yay.
So well, let's just start now. I don't know who's. So, is that what we're doing? We just. I don't know either. So let's just figure it out as we go. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
You were David in the last one, right?
I sure was. Tiny little pieces, Ellie. Tiny little pieces.
Great. Oh, stop. There's far. No, stop. It's
I just want to say that you scared me for
yeah.
I got some of that deer meat if you need any extra.
Oh, no.
Just want to get the medicine.
Isn't it creepy? Isn't that creepy? Yeah, but the great thing about that, I was approached by Neil Druckmann, and I knew Troy was doing it and Ashley, and he said, you got to come play a character. I got this idea, and when he told me what he wanted to do, I was like, this is going to be crazy, because as I said, look, the thing about him is I want him to be as sweet and compassionate as possible, and as creepy as he was, I think something that's really interesting is. People think I'm crazy because they say, oh, he was terrible, he tried to rape. No, I think he was perfectly justified. And that's how I had to play it, at least. Because if David walked in here, right now in this setting, yeah, he's insane. But in the circumstances that were dealt in Last of Us, where, it's this apocalyptic type, thing, he's trying to procreate his tribe, he's trying to do what he has to do to stay alive. Although somebody once said, but there were deer, and I was like, that's true. I didn't think that far ahead. I never played chess.
The thing is, the three characters that terrified me the most were Joel, Ellie, and David in the entire game.
Yeah.
And I can understand having to go into it feeling that you're justified because you can tell in his head.
Circumstances dictated what he did. Yeah, thank you. Circumstances dictated what he did, and he had to, that's what he was doing. We don't know this, but why would he go after a young girl? I'm like, well, she's. Look at the group. What if they were sterile? What if they didn't have anything? What if it was just a bunch of dudes? No, Ethan Allen and the Green Mountain Boys. No other questions? So, I'm kidding. I see you stretching. Sure.
How do you feel to get into that character, into Deadpool, to mold yourself into Deadpool?
I didn't mold. I'm insane. You have to understand. I'm insane. And I'll finish up with some questions we answer with you. I love talking David.
Can you drop a little Deadpool on us?
Of course I can. I can drop it anytime I want. Stop it. He's going to get scared.
No, he won't. He'll stay right here.
Yeah. No. You know, I was just telling somebody that story when we were going to do that game. They thought, well, we'll do all the Deadpool lines when he's talking like this. That'll be fine. That's all we have to do. And then we'll get all the ones where he's up here like talking about boobies, you know.
And then we'll get the real serious ones.
And I thought, you know what? It's going to be a lot more natural than if he's really pinballing around in his head with these voices in his head. Let's do it vocally. So we actually ended up recording it that way, and it was sweaty. It was because you're going around. But I remember I would read lines. I didn't want to read the lines ahead of time. I wanted to read them as we went. So as we're going, I'm doing it, and sometimes things that didn't even make the game, you'd be like, oh come on, you know, like, and I'd say something, and I can't believe I just said that. Really? Is that what we're doing on this game? Is this rated M for this to be rated X? It's crazy.
Oh, the line you said in Hulk versus Wolverine, where you said, I shot him in the ass.
Yeah, he shot you, Wolverine, right in the ass. Yeah. And I'm very proud of that line, too, because I made that line up. Look at you. Look at you. You better be going to the bathroom, because you're in a hurry to get out of here. Go on, beat it. As Deadpool. It was a pleasure to meet you, too. What's his name? I don't know. Steven?
David?
I'll remember that.
He says,
And David's watching you leave too, with your little stroke of red hair. I'll remember it.
okay. I'm going to start right to left. Yeah, yes. I don't play Nathan Drake. It's moving along. It got a little hiccup. You probably read about. We got a hiccup, and but yeah, we come back. We've just come back pretty strong. We got some good stuff coming. It's I still don't know when the release date is gonna happen, but it will happen. It's like talking about 3 of my children.
There's always a big one.
That's true. I have 2. One of them, awesome. The other, should have drowned him. What? Just hold him down. He's a baby. They don't know. See, I have to do that in a Deadpool voice, or people think I'm really crazy. I think, you know, my son is amazing at it, playing, and you know, I'll walk around my house hearing, oh, and son, no, kid, oh, you know, when he dies, that's what that was. He loves 2, but he also loves 3. But, you know, 1, he's like, why did it look funny? Because he wasn't old enough to play the first one at the time it came out. So by the time he's playing 3 and then 2, he's looking at 1 going, why are the graphics like, I'm like, because, you know, but he wouldn't know how to turn on a television without a remote. So, you know, these kids these days. I liked, the thing is, it's always, for me, it's not the final product, it's what we did. I mean, 3 was a lot of fun, just the ridiculousness of playing on, like you're on a horse, you know, in a motion capture suit. Yeah, and you're just on in a saddle on a big box. You know, and I don't know if people have heard this story, but at one point I had to do this thing where I'm riding, and we had to do, it's a move set. So like when Drake is chasing and they're running right, so you just have to do this. It wasn't for the cinematics, it's for the gameplay part. And so he's riding the horse, and at one point, we're just riding it, and then one of the engineers started playing My Little Pony. and I couldn't stop doing this, but we're all laughing, but I had to keep, I was riding on the horse and spurring it on. And that thing, I couldn't stop because we were actually capturing the footage, but not the audio. So they were just playing that. People just walking up with their phones, taking pictures. Yeah, making the game is twice the fun that you have playing, which is saying quite a bit. Hold on a second. Yeah, and then.
How was it like bringing the Penguin to life?
Penguin was cool. You know, Penguin came along at a time when everyone was like, Oh, he's just does all the same voice, you know, because Assassin's Creed came out, and Assassin's Creed, the first one we did, and Uncharted, we were in production at the same time. Then they came out about the same time. Then there was the other one with the guy with the jetpack, and it was just, you know, yeah, there's so many, and it was like, you know, I had just gotten into it, and you know, people were just like, no, and then when Dre came out, everyone was like, no, just do your regular voice. I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna work. Like, I had a problem with Prince of Persia. I looked at him, I'm like, guys, he's gotta have an accent. I mean, no American other than Troy Baker wears that many scarves. You know it's true. And, you know, carpets this thick, princess, isn't as good as carpets this thick, princess. You know, and the funny thing is, when the movie came out, I covered Jake Gyllenhaal for some of the advertisements in his British accent. I was like, you know, but even if they did something with a little bit with a Persian accent or something, some kind of flavor. I told them, I said, we could just do a hybrid that doesn't from anywhere, but it would sound different. You know, do something crazy, and you put a rasp on it. Make him younger, whatever you want to do. You could do these different things. And they were like, nah, just do your voice. and it was bad. Kari Walgren did the princess, and she was brilliant. She was great. And the game is beautiful. And then this stupid accent of mine comes out. Penguin. Back to the penguin, which was his question. So when all those came out, Rocksteady came and said, we want you to do the penguin. And I said, cool. And they said, you know, so well, let's find the voice. And they said, they want him in here. And they want like they said, yeah, but they didn't want it to be like true Cockney. Because I can do that, and I know, but it, you know, and I said, well, you don't want to do the Dick Van Dyke thing, right? And they're like, no, not that. They go, literally, this is true. He goes, not that bad. So we found, but Cobblepot was supposed to be American, then raised in that, so he wasn't truly British, exactly. Well, you know, you know. So when we found that, you know, when they showed me the animation with the bottle jammed in his head and everything, you know, you just saw this guy who's going to talk like that, didn't you? And wasn't he going to go after the Batman? You know, and it was just, and then all of a sudden people went, wait, that was him? And that was the role that actually got them go, oh, he can do something other than Nate and Drake and this and that. And it was just, and it's like, yeah, always could. But they're gonna, no, I don't want to be here. That was great, and it's so much fun to play. And you know, and if you've played the recent ones, we've done it more. Only me. No, what they do is a lot of times, like with that one, they brought me, and they're friends of mine. You know, I mean, we'd worked on other stuff together, and they brought me the animation. They said, this is what he looks like. So we just then we sit together and try to find it. And then you go in and record a few things, maybe you try some other things. It's kind of like like I've done some stuff on camera, and we'll go in and do like wardrobe tests, you know, and you can go like look at Pirates of the Caribbean. And Johnny Depp, especially Johnny, he did all these wardrobe tests until he came up with this is the right look. You can go back to most movies and you'll see, you can find the old pictures somewhere where they, you know, yeah, I mean, Han Solo, before he had hit that outfit, I mean, there's stuff with leather jackets and all kinds of different things. I mean, and all the wardrobe tests. So it's kind of a vocal wardrobe test. What does this guy sound like? And you take on like if he's hunched, I mean, you know, the penguin, he's all hunched over and he looks uncomfortable. Just looks like you know. So that's where you found that, yeah. Yeah, and you find that voice because it sounds like uncomfortable. Yes, impish, yes.
Is there anything Deadpool wouldn't do to make sure his film would be green light in Hollywood?
No. No, but then everybody'd be dead and nobody'd buy a ticket. Hold on, he's this guy right here. Wait.
You know, you've been playing not only characters in games like, Arkham Origins and all that. You've also been Desmond Miles. You've been Hammond from Titanfall. But one thing that was crazy when I saw this was you are like the whole cast of TMNT. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, your Krang, your
Well,
robots, your...
Yeah, well, I'm mostly the Krang. I've done like, you know, you do for the new series, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm mostly the Krang, which is which is basically Cobblepot without the accent and no personality.
All the Krang talk like this. That's all they do.
And the great thing about it is they have about 4 or 5 lines an episode, and while the turtles are sitting there for 2 hours, I'm like, 5 lines and I'll see you. Heading to the golf course. And then I'm gonna go home.
And then I see you, you know, doing this and also doing Batman and Little Batman. So, all this versatility, what's the next step? Because you've been everywhere.
There's still more. Don't say that. I gotta put my kids through school, man. You kidding? There's no more. You're right, it's over. Yeah, no, there's always more. No, there's always more. I mean, you don't understand, like, I do a bunch of cartoons right now for Nickelodeon, and you know, the characters, I do one, it's Sanjay and Craig, and it's Chicken Chuck. And he goes up, yes, you know the show. I love my wings, Penny. And it's, you know, I mean, yeah, How to Train Your Dragon, Stoic. I do Stoic for that. We just got picked up for 52 more episodes by DreamWorks, but it's only going to be, the new 52 will be on Netflix. But everything Gerard Butler didn't want to do. Hiccup, let's talk about those dragons. And you know, best compliment I ever got was from my son, who said, he looked at it, he goes, I like your Stoic better than his. And I said, no, that's not the good part. And he said, and this is actually very smart. He's way smarter than I am. He said, and I said, well, of course you don't, because I'm your dad. He goes, no, you both sound like Vikings, but you sound like a dad. And I went, and I looked at him, and then he said, I bet Gerard Butler doesn't have kids, does he? And I went, no, he doesn't. And I was like, wow. Isn't that cool, though? Because he, as a kid, now think about kids watching the shows, you know, and he heard the fatherly tone to it, which, you know, really, goosebumps, a tear. So proud! Okay, I'm going to go to this side of the aisle once, right here.
How much improvisation goes into when you record? Say before, it sounds like so much of that dialogue, the spheres, and the church just sounds like so much.
The spheres, a lot of that was, well, no, I don't want to give, I got to give the writers credit. They wrote some great stuff. I've said this before, I ad-lib a lot. Nathan Drake, anytime you're running through an environment, we do something called Chase the Picture that we kind of made up. It really had never been done, as far as I know. But it really hadn't been done. And what we do is the animators at Naughty Dog, in that case, will play through an entire level. And they'll purposely, you know, run over and look at something and then turn around and they'll look at an environment in a room. And then they'll run out and they look all through there. And like in the Chateau in Uncharted 3, you run by the thing and I'm like, hey, popcorn machine. And you keep going. I made that up because that thing just, you know, they walked through and he just walked by and I went, hey, it's a popcorn machine. You know, and they were like, that's funny. And they left it in. So when you run by that thing, it triggers him to say that. You know, anytime, so, you know, and you know, they're geniuses. I don't know how it works, but it'll trigger, and then you go back and look at it, he won't say it again. But, you know, those little Easter eggs that they'll put in there, but we will do that. Like I like to do all the, like as they're climbing, because I can actually match how, you know, like a short jump's gonna be like, instead of, you know, just ridiculous. I get a check for that. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that ridiculous? I know. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't have sign up. I just fell off a truck one day. Yes.
Going back to what you said about Prince of Persia.
Yes.
An actor can only give so much. How much is a good direction for a good production?
Oh, direction's critical. Direction's good. The best thing that direction gives is context. You know, I'm looking at a page. That's why I like with animation or any of this, the game, like what I was saying about chasing picture. That's the best thing because that's the first time I get to see what it looks like. You know, like when we did Drake's Fortune, it was the first time we got to see it, and you're like, wow, that's my voice coming out of that dude. That's pretty cool. So the director, when you're looking at a script and you just have a line, I mean, you can say, you can say, you can say a line, you can say I love you, that phrase, dozens of ways. You know, it can be caring, it can be sarcastic, it can be, you know, ironic. I mean, you can do it so many, I love you, I love you, yeah, I love you. I mean, it's just, so, I mean, if it's words on a page, the director is the one that says, okay, you just came through this order and she's just come up there, this is the person, you're like, oh, that's who gives you the context. There's the writers, and that director has to give you, and then volume. I mean, let's face it, it's like, well, God, for any of the Call of Duties I've done, or any of that stuff, hey, it's like, hey, everything's gonna be fine, I'll get through it after this session. You do the, like, okay, you're yelling to someone, like if I'm yelling to this gentleman here, I'm like, let's go, we gotta get out of here. If it's the guy in the back, we gotta get out of here. Well, the director has to say, he's about 50 feet away. He's 200 feet. It's a gun battle. What kind of gun battle? Are we talking pistols, bang, bang, shoot? Or is it, it's like, no, everything has to be sustained because those are AKs. I'm not gonna, no, we gotta get out of here, those are AKs! No, there's no reason to clap for that. No, I'm just yelling. You can do that too. No, but you could do. You just have to really picture the AKs, and that's where the disease comes in. Guy in the hat.
I was curious.
Guy without the hat.
Feel whenever they cancel them.
Oh, I hated it. I hated it. You know, there's a couple that have been canceled. No reason for it. That was it's business related. It's all business, and it's business and it's money and how they make the money is what I've learned. I'll give you an example. Young Justice, that went down because Marvel was sold to Disney, and that show aired on Cartoon Network, and Cartoon Network and Disney has their own channel. So now Disney, to continue that series, would have to pay Cartoon Network, a competing network, to air their show. And because Young Justice had Marvel had a contract that would have to continue with Cartoon Network. Yeah. I mean DC. I work for both. I'm an independent contractor. I'll put a, you know, like you got a contractor who puts in your new kitchen. He doesn't care if you live on the east side of town or the west side of town. Okay, I've been Superman and I've been Cyclops. It's all good. Here's the deal. But that it aired on Cartoon Network. Okay, so DC, and when Young Justice was canceled because what did they want to do? They didn't want to pay. How did it work? No, that's Transformers. Transformers Prime. 3 years. They're like, hey, guess what? We need new toys. Now it's Beast Hunters, because Hasbro now can do it. And listen, by the way, it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's just a business. That's how they make their money. And I mean, I was on a series at one point, and it just wasn't really, it's called Robot and Monster on Nickelodeon. It's awesome. It's funny. This cast was great. The show did well. It was one of the highest rated. But it just really didn't have much of a toy thing. I'm doing a new series of Nick Jr., really cool, for little kids. But it's called Blaze. And that's where you count with Blaze and that kind of thing. And it's like Dora, but Sick Deadpool is going to be a little truck that teaches your children all the best stuff. Start at 5 and count with me. And I sing songs. When I get back from my vacation that I'm taking after this, I have to do 2 new little toys. I'm doing toys where your kid presses it and like, hey, don't tell mommy, but I'm Deadpool. I'm trying to sneak that in, but they won't. Yeah. I mean, at one point in my career, I was almost Mickey Mouse, like 12 times.
I was doing it like this. I had to go in and sing and do all those things. Oh, boy. Look at you. You're a big Mickey fan, aren't you? Well, let's go get a cocktail.
That's what I do. I do dirty, R-rated dirty Mickey for my kids. I'm like,
Remember, kids? Yeah.
Like,
Pot isn't bad if you don't get caught.
whoa! Mickey, stop it!
Oh, shut up. I'm a little drunk.
I mean, their friends love it. But I never got there. Hold on, I missed you were up there in the front. Yes, we're gonna try to get to everybody. I'll go as much as I can. Great. Yes.
You're very versatile. You've done a lot of things. You've done from like Dustin and Assassin's Creed
Yes.
to the Penguin, completely
I'm
different
aware of it.
character. Well, you know, but
Okay.
what would you say is the hardest character archetype to get into? Because you've played so many different ones. Which one doesn't come as natural to you? Which
She came prepared. That's good. Archetype. Somebody Google archetype. No. You know, the thing about it is that's great is like my favorite actors, like on screen or whatever, are character actors. And in voiceover, if you are versatile, you have a certain little, leeway. Everybody's a character actor. Doesn't matter what you look like, tall, short, whatever. But most of my favorite on-camera stuff I've done and my stuff I've done in voiceover are, the guys are, I like the bad guys. I like some of the questionable guys, just like doing like, I just like it. There's something about it because you tap into a side that, I've never, like David was awesome. That was so much fun to do because, the morality, where's the line, and there's just more to think about. So you kind of just, I don't know. When I do it, I don't consciously think about it. I don't really. So, well, let me see. I'll get my notebook and do my character types and stuff. And there were classes that people did. When I first became an actor, I'd go to those classes and they say, get a notebook, and I get the notebook. I do it for about 3 days, and I go, yeah, I really don't want to do this. I'm just going to go play. And I think playing. I know it sounds really stupid, but the best things to play are some of the bad characters that you're not quite sure what they're up to, and then the ones with the cool costume. Because you get a gun, man. You got to do it. J.J. Abrams gave me a role, tiny thing. You blink and you miss me in Star Trek. But I was there for 2 weeks in a uniform. I had a phaser, man. and we used to play the Star Wars and Star Trek when we were kids, and when I was a little boy, and I'd run around in our clubhouse. That was gotta get back to the ship. That was me. I was running around playing make-believe. And, the big thing when we played Super Friends, it was like, am I Spidey and I use the rope swing? Or am I going to get the Superman underoos and do the cape? Well, it's a little hot today. Maybe the cape. No Spidey, no web swing. That was me. So now you do it for real. That bridge, they built a spaceship. They built a spaceship. I had this tiny little role. It was just for fun. And this board in front of me that you never see, it costs more than, God, you could buy a house with this. And this board, and I'm like pushing the buttons, and one of the takes are like, you don't really hit the buttons because, I'm sorry. Don't really hit the buttons because it's making some noises on the take for Chris Pine. I'm like, I don't care. And I was just like, this is the coolest stuff I've ever seen. So the archetype, it's always better. I like your characters you're not quite sure about. They might be good guys in the end. They redeem themselves, but they may do something shady in between or start out. There's just more ways to go rather than just like, hey, you do good, that guy. Oh, hold on a sec. Mario.
You've been you've just been in so many things.
Yes, they were saying that.
And in the same vein that you talked about with the different roles and you've been into a few things. I saw you were on the first episode of Rick and Morty, and that blew my mind.
Yeah, wasn't that awesome? That show is sick.
And in World 2, you did a lot of the core voices and all that stuff. So how do you approach a project where you're doing a lot of voices versus one that you have one core character like?
It was like when we did the Penguin. They said, you saw this stuff with the space, and I was like, space? What did he say? He said, well, we're not sure what he sounds like, but. And then you start reading the lines, and they wrote most of those lines. They were brilliant. I cannot take too much credit for that. But then all of a sudden I said, well, and the one line that got me, and the voice clicked. I just was going down the script, and we're trying different voices, high, low, and everything, and then it's like, Dad? Yes, son. Go to space? Are you space? No, son. And I was like, oh, it's like a little kid. Like, Dad? You go to space?
No, son. Are you space? No, son. Space, 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 space. And all I did was just say, space, 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 space. I'm going space, go space, go space. I love space.
And we literally just, they turned it on, and they just drank coffee, and I just like went nuts, just
In space.
and just said those lines right after each other. And then they broke them all up. And then they said Adventure Sphere, and I was like, hey, Adventure Sphere, let's do it. All right. I do the Adventure Sphere. And then I don't remember what I did, honest to God, for Fact Sphere. I don't remember. In fact, when the game came out, people were like, I can't believe you did Portal 2. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Because they have a code name for their game. And I had done it so long before, and then it came out, and I'm like, oh, you were these spheres. And I was like, oh, yeah. And the defective turrets. Yeah, we did all those things. But, you know, you just sit there and you just try to find the voice. And usually most of the voices are people like, Chicken Chuck from Sanjay and Craig. It's basically my high school baseball coach who would talk. And he would get all excited. And then when he got really excited, he would run out of breath and forget to take a breath as he was talking. And then he would start again really loud, and then he would just keep running out of breath. But he would keep moving his mouth and saying words. And so that just little things like that.
My uncle Bob, who lived outside Boston, is a guy that I've done on a couple things. Oh yeah, and he had a hearing impairment, so we used to do little things like this to him and say, Bob, everything fine. Got it doing. Oh my God.
So I mean, it's friends, it's relatives, nobody's safe. I'm working on a couple of you right now. Yes, you've been waiting patiently.
Yes. I know that you might not remember it, but you did 6 or I think 7 different characters in Dota 2. Remember doing any of the voices for It's a Valve game?
12.
12 as well?
12. There's a level. How many characters can play at one time?
5 or 10. Sorry.
10.
Yeah.
I think I did 12, but there was, or maybe 10, because there's one time somebody was talking about how you can play with all the voices I did. And the craziest ones were the one with the head that talked like this. And Ogre Magi, right? One talked like,
And the other one is like this.
this one like this, and they talk to each other. Yeah, I mean, that was fun. Listen, that developer, Valve, they're the best. They're the best. I mean, I've been doing that. Everybody just flipped out. What was that? Somebody remember the Valve? What's that Valve thing? God, I can't remember with the doctor and the Team Fortress. Yeah. I'm engineer. I did engineer for the thing. Did engineer for it, and I did one line as the sergeant yelling, and everyone's like, "That's Nolan North yelling," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty good." I gotta tell you, you guys are good. You guys, the best ears in the business are the fans, because they hear this stuff and they're like, "Yep, no, that's Baker North. Oh, that's Steve Bloom."
But everybody knows Steve Bloom because I was born with a cigar in my larynx.
By the way, guys never smoked.
Hey, Nolan, you want to go out for a beer?
No. Wolverine, I don't. He's great. In the back there, sir, with the white. Yes, you.
As a big fan of Portal 2, can you say something as a defective turret?
I don't remember anything. That was so long ago.
Got any bullets?
Huh?
Got any bullets?
I don't remember what he sounded like. Do you understand? Have you seen the IMDb? I'm not that bright. I don't even remember how I got here today. I forget stuff. I don't know. Yeah. Where did you come from? What accent do you hear? Okay, people say that. I'm from the Northeast. I grew up in New England. Born in New Haven, then lived in southern Massachusetts, then Rhode Island now. Since I was 10, I lived in Rhode Island. And then, then I went to North Carolina, and I moved for college, and then I went back to Boston, then I went to New York.
Spent some time in the Philippines.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Venture Sphere.
I am. Okay, I can't give you a defective turret, but if you know Adventure Sphere? My favorite line of that whole thing was like, I'm a master of karate, jujitsu, and bedroom. That was awesome. I love that line. I didn't write it, but that was a hell of a line. Guy in the green, are you going to raise your hand? No? Oh, you're just waving at something. I'm just trying to, nobody on this side has asked for anything. Oh, wait, I'm going back there.
What is the worst voice acting experience that you've had ever?
Well, they're all, listen, I've done everything, okay? I mean, I put asphalt down on Route 95. I mean, I've waitered, I bartended. Before I was an actor, I mean, I worked in an investment bank at one point. I did just the odd jobs. I was a reporter, done everything. Bad day voice acting? Are you kidding me? I mean, it's like you're going to play. A lot of times it's with a bunch of your friends, and they're all schizophrenic, crazy, and fun. You know, and to watch guys like, you know, Frank Welker is a genius. He's the godfather. He's one of my best friends now. He lives across the street. I got the house across the street from him. He sits out in his yard just listening to birds. I can do that one. I do animals too. No, but I mean, you get to work with these people. I was telling someone earlier with Transformers. First day I did Smokescreen, and it was Darren Norris, Kevin Michael Richardson's here, and Bloom I know, and Fred Tatasciore over there, and Welker is Megatron, and all of a sudden I'm just sitting there and I go, and you know I'm a grown man, and I went, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do, Optimus? And I get goosebumps telling the story, and all I just heard, and I just turned my head and I hear, Autobots, roll out. And I shrunk in the chair. I felt like a little kid again. And I looked at Kevin, looks at me, goes, gets me every time. And I look at everyone in the room. When that man would do that, like nobody was on their phone or talking, everyone would stop and look up and watch, because it was like listening to magic. I mean, it's Optimus Prime. I don't care. I mean, you know, so is there a bad day? You know, one time I had an allergy thing, and I had to do a thing, and you can yell, you can do voices even if I have a cold. I can't do my voice when I have a cold, but you know, I've had the flu, and I did a session for Penguin. I mean, I was already down here the whole time, so I might as well just put on a little bit of the accent and do it. But with worst day might have been. It was still a great day, but there was a Call of Duty back when they first started out, like call it Big Red 1 or something like that, and it was awesome. It was like, wow, this is great. We're gonna storm Normandy Beach, and we did. You know, I think it was Sergeant Randall, and you run through, and you're doing all this stuff. This is so cool. It was still new. You know, games hadn't even really evolved to what they are today yet. And I went back for day 2, and I hadn't yelled properly. And well, that session was short because there was nothing there. And it taught me that, you know, there's going to be a lot of yelling. You better learn how to do it right, diaphragm, and like really project, but hold back. Because there was another day. And again, they're not bad days where I had done this thing, and I kind of watch how many pages we have, and you know when to kind of gauge it to really let it out. So I don't hold anything back. When that session's done, I'm fine. And I finished it, and I'm like, oh, it's great. Like, all right, we're going to send in the second stack. What? And the guy comes in with the second half of the phone book that we're going to do. And I had to tell them, I said, and I told them that how I worked. They're like, oh. And we got through a few more, but got another session out of it. Should work it more. Yeah. You know what? That game, I think, is, you know, it's a military shooter, and a lot of them are alike. I thought that, I thought it was awesome, okay? I'm going to tell you, I think that the guy who wrote that, his family are all military, and it's about the closest thing to like what they psychologically have to go through, but it is a mind game, man. That is rough. And it's, if anybody hasn't heard of it, but this game, basically, it's a military shooter, you know, shoot things, kill people in the sandstorm of Dubai. And it's kind of a cool setting, looks pretty cool, but every now and then you'll have a choice. You know, kill the soldier or kill the civilian. And the thing is you can kill the soldier, the civilian kills you, you know, because they don't want you there. You kill the civilian, this person sometimes there's no right choice. And that's kind of like what the military troops face in today's warfare. And it's I mean, there's some with the white phosphorus and like, do you kill civilians or do you take, I mean, it's just, and then, but what was cool vocally, what we did with that was, we did it in sections of like, oh, come on, we're going in, this is the voice, whatever we're gonna do it like this, and you're gonna listen to me. And then as it just got on, it was ragged, and by the end, he's gone. He was gone. And the cool thing for me, one of the other, not Lugo, but it was hi, welcome to your 40s. From Kid and Play, Chris Reed played one of the other, and I was a big Kid and Play fan growing up, you know, High Top Fade. He doesn't have that anymore. But he was the other actor, and we got to, me and three of us got to do it, a lot of it together, until they got killed. Not for real, it was in the game. Yeah, it's a heavy game, and I think that's one of the reasons. It's one of those games like Uncharted. I can't tell you how many people say, "Oh man, I played Uncharted, and you know it's great." And I think I'm going to go back and play it again, and play it a bunch of times. Spec Ops was something that they played, and it was cool. But do you want to mentally go through that? I've actually heard that about as brilliant as Last of Us. I've had a few people tell me, say, "Oh, amazing game," and it is. They're like, "I don't really want to play it again." You know, it's like, I'm like, why? Like, it's like, oh, just, you know, you embrace these characters and then to see them broken down and dying and it was like, it's heavy, but that's because The Last of Us is an incredibly sophisticated game. And it just, the themes and the tones and the writing, I mean, it was, you know, it was really, really done well. I thought Joel was overplayed. I wish he was here. You have no idea how much fun he and I have. Mess with it. Yes?
When you were working on Saints Row 4, did they tell you they were just going to put your name on?
Yeah, no, are you kidding? That's in the contract, buddy. Yeah, you know, that's extra when you use my name. Yeah, no, that was cool. That was cool. They actually called me and they said, would you be interested in doing this? This is what it is. And somebody reminded me today, the great thing about that game, it's me and Keith David are the only two who play as themselves, which is cool. But the other thing is, like, I had somebody say, oh, used your voice. I said, yeah, but I used black female player too, but with your voice. And I'm like, I want to see that. That's awesome. And like, you can just play as that name. I mean, loved it. You know, I mean, the really weird thing about it is, you know, you have to say, whenever you're any of the player characters, it's one script and everybody has to say it. Male, female, it doesn't matter. And there's some, at the end I start reading these lines and all of a sudden it's like, I'm forgetting the name, but it's like, no, Rick, you've always meant a lot to me. What are we doing here with Rick? Like, oh, it's a kind of, your player character's kind of in love with Rick. I'm like, really? Did the check clear? Rick, you've always meant a lot to me. It was that was fun. That was a hoot, you know, just to be able. It was a really nice thing, you know, just to. I don't know. This whole thing bemuses me. It's like, it's funny that people would care, but it was fun. It was cool. Yes, again.
Looking forward to the future, are you coming back for Pretty Little Liars season 5 or 6?
Oh yeah.
Talk to you about Unity.
We watch Tuesday, man. I'm not next Tuesday. My wife left me Tuesday. Anybody watch that show? Anybody? Most people here don't. Do you? Do you?
It's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, no, we've been picked up for season 6 and 7 already, and we're in 5. So yeah, you know, I mean, the funny thing about that show though is I have other things that are kind of irons in the fire, but that I would never leave. But it's a recurring role, so you know, because it's not Pretty Little Parents, they don't really care. You know, it's pretty, you know, it's about the girls, and but it's fun to go over there. I mean, and they work around my schedule, with voiceover and vice versa. So it's, you know, it's just fun. You know, I mean, I've told people this before. People say, "Well, you're a voice actor." It's like, no, we're all just actors. I mean, and for me, it's like, I mean, some voice actors choose not to do on camera. They don't want to. I mean, Frank Welker used to, but he doesn't want to anymore. He doesn't have to. But you know, if I'm on stage in a theater production that I used to do, or if it's a microphone in a booth or a camera, it's the same to me. Voiceover for a lot of it is a little bit less of a hassle because, you know, there's no makeup. You can go in a hat. It's like you may stink a little. You know, you didn't shave. You know, and you go in, you do your thing. It takes less time. On the other hand, you know, if you get a series regular on a television show, oh, so you want to go to Stanford? No problem. Not you, my kid. You know what I'm saying? No, but it's like, you know, it can be incredibly lucrative, but it can be short-lived. Great thing about voiceover is you know, Frank Welker, I mean, Peter Cullen. Peter Cullen's still working, and he looks like he's 50, but I'm pretty sure he's in his 70s. You know, you don't have to retire. If you don't want to, you get to, and why would you? You're playing.
I'll just move into the grandpa roles. Or things like this. Oh, well, Miley, put your pants back on.
You all knew which Miley I was talking about.
Now, what is this twerking I hear all about?
See, I don't know what it is really. We used to call it shaking your ass, but. Who are you?
Well, I fell out of the Call of Duty games a long time ago, but
Yeah.
here's what kept me going. Is I played World at War and I started playing the zombies co-op thing. I had a lot of fun with that. And you know, as it evolved, they started introducing characters. You played Riptop.
Yes, I did. I played the doctor. And I still do, Maxis. I still do. Oh, that was a cross.
You know, I'm just going to stop. I'm going to stop you for your question because I'm going to tell you a story about it. That is the crazy. People can say, "Oh, David," or Deadpool. He's insane. I mean, I didn't think I'd ever enjoy playing a Nazi. Hello. I mean, but I'll tell you something. One good thing they did, they gave us a villain for for hundreds of years. There will be now Nazi zombies. It's just nuts. That character is hysterical. And you know why I think a lot of people like it is Call of Duty became a huge hit, but a lot of people said that they played for the multiplayer, and it's a phenomenal multiplayer. They play with friends all over the world, but the story was kind of secondary. Whereas like Uncharted, it's just the opposite. And people play for the story, and then they'll play multiplayer. But Call of Duty is a worldwide phenomenon. That zombie stuff, it was supposed to be a one-off. They talked to us about making our own zombie game. But then it's like, no, we don't want to make it its own zombie game. We want it to be part of that because it's a real appeal now. But it was supposed to be a one-off thing. The great thing about that is Steve Bloom and Fred Tatasciore and myself and Tom Kane. Now, Kane usually isn't at those records, but the other three, and we're all very good friends, we've done that together. Oh my God, the stuff that was left on the cutting room floor that you never heard, you could have your own game, and it's filthy. But that is so much fun. And then in the last one, they made it a little more serious. They wanted to get back to how he became so whacked out.
He added the whole story, and there's like little hidden stories.
But did you enjoy the story element of it more?
Well, the thing was, it eventually
The answer's no. Short answer's no.
No.
Eventually what happened?
It got annoying to where you had to jump through 30 flaming tubes and then press the button on the ceiling
easy.
to unlock the story.
I don't play, so I don't know.
But it was just,
I can't play.
I did that so I could hear the voiceovers.
Perfect. I love it so much. I will call you later and we will talk. And I will tell you dirty things about your crawlers.
Over here, I saw you before.
I'm a huge fan of Transformers Prime. What was it overall experience-wise, just working with all of them?
I see Frank Welker a lot, Megatron. He still assigns his emails Megs and sends it to Smoke, which incidentally is the coolest nickname I've ever had. He's the only one who calls me it, that I can count it. We will get together and talk about it. It was one of the best groups I've ever been in. And we do, I mean, there's a lot of good groups, but there's something special. I mean, we looked forward to that. I mean, usually it was Wednesday from 2 o'clock over in Burbank. We'd go to the studio and we'd get there at like 1:15, just so we could hang out and talk. Session probably should have taken about 90 minutes. It took about 3 hours because we just talked in between things. We just cutting up, doing different voices. Peter Cullen and Frank Welker would start doing a scene from the original 12 Angry Men. Like, the kid's a bum, I tell you. Now Welker does a Henry Fonda, who most people don't know anymore, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Henry Fonda, and they're going back and forth, and literally, you're going. I mean, we're all fans of each other. We're all fans just like you are of people. I mean, we're not any different. And when you're sitting there, I love Steve Bloom's voice. Steve Bloom, he said, it's Starscream, and he's doing Starscream, and you're like, it's just like, where does Starscream buy his heels? Remember how the animation? And he talked like this. It's like, now I sound like Mark Hamill. I do though, right? 5 winding things. We have time for a few minutes. It was amazing. It was an awesome experience. I'm going to try to answer questions quickly and succinctly. Chicken Man. Not Chicken Man. Yep. Yes. No, we would go back and forth because the cool thing is it was Superboy was the first one cast, and they said, we also want you to do Superman. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. They said, well, because he's a clone, so you'd have the same voice box. They're like, okay. So it's just kind of a younger, angry version, and this one would be a little more mature. But they had to sound the same, but different. Wow. Yeah, we go right back and forth. I always like to go back and forth on the characters, like Deadpool in the game. It went back and forth 3 times, and yeah, it's just, I don't know. I like the challenge. Go away. Do you see what we did? I did the same thing to Troy.
I know.
Hey, come on over. I'm supposed to be 5 minutes and knock it off. Everybody know Mary Elizabeth? Look at a girl. We were just talking about when we were over at Studiopolis doing like Transformers Prime, that kind of stuff. It's so much fun. So much fun. Are you next?
Yeah.
She's next. You don't want to miss that. Hold on. I'll get to you right after this one. Yeah, but I'd have to kill you if I told you. I have NDAs. I can't. Yeah. No, are you kidding? Come on, it's me, man. Of course. And I don't remember. Uncharted 4 has been announced. Yeah, we're doing that. If I think of any others, huh? No, I was killed. Desmond was killed. Let's face it. Assassin's Creed fan. Let's just. Desmond was kind of the boring part of the story, right? I tried. I did my best, but. Do you want to run around in the gray walls, or you want to? That's you, knives, man. No, it's not gonna. Green, you just hold. All right. Yeah, Neil Druckmann, who wrote Last of Us, is now. You know what? I don't know. I haven't heard that anyone's going to die. I know everyone's like, Thief's End, is he dying? What do you think? I'm like, oh, nobody told me. I hope not. I don't know, you know, I mean, we're going to still honor what we're doing. You know, I mean, it was a big loss. Details of which I'm not privy to, because I'm like I said, I was telling her, I'm kind of an independent contractor. I don't know. I'm very, very close friends with Amy Hennig. I've heard both sides of stories, and I'm not going to go into it, but it was really unfortunate. But the game is made for the fans. The game is made for, and you got a responsibility to do your job and get out there and do it. And we're just going to make the best game we can under the circumstances. It's unfortunate, but you know, Neil and you know that team made Last of Us, which wasn't too shabby. So will it be the same tone? I don't think it can be the same tone because it's a different team, and that writer and that team created that tone. This will have it's going to be different, I think. To be honest with you, we just started because we had been doing a bunch of stuff. That was thrown out, and now it's going to be something new. And you know, I'm kind of in a wait and see mode. You know, so unfortunately, you have to wait and see too. But you'll want to see it because I mean, Naughty Dog makes amazing games. I can't see this one. Everyone going, well, that sucked. It's just not going to happen. They make amazing games. They're some of the most talented animators and artists and designers and programmers. No, they won't be. This game will be this, and imagine how many copies it would have sold if it wasn't a PlayStation exclusive. But it can't exist on Xbox. It has too much magic. I don't know. Powers, CPUs, and those kind of things. Am I over my time? I'm cutting it. Hold on. I'm going to get one more, though. And it's going to be to someone in that area. Yeah, you. I didn't pick you out on purpose, but you know. You got one?
The motion capture suits are a little uncomfortable to get into the first time. I was just wondering, how long did it take you to get used to being in that suit?
I don't know. I haven't gotten used to it yet. First time I actually put it on, when we first did the first Uncharted, I had put on a few pounds. And this is a true story. This will be really quick. It was, and we went to do that ADR, that chasing the picture I was talking about earlier. The motion capture suit was brown. I looked like Mr. Hanky, the Christmas fool. I was 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag. And I look and I went, oh my God. And I went home and I went straight to working out again. And I was like, because I was not going to look like that. And, you know, the pants right up a little higher. Cause sometimes it makes you look a little sway back when you're walking around because the pants are a little higher than where you. But it's you know, it keeps you fit. You look ridiculous if you don't. So it's one of those things. And yeah, nobody gets used to Lycra. What am I, a jazz dancer? I don't know. What? No, they don't wear Lycra? I don't know how to end this.
Say goodbye.
Nolan North, everybody. Come see me.
Say goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nolan North.